Hello world! This time on Multidisciplinary Engineering I want to share with you something I noticed. It's the evolution of laser cutting technology into new markets. And it came to me when I saw this. This is a box which was full of strawberries, and if you have a closer look, not sure, focus, you see how the border, how these borders here are black or brownish. So this has been laser cut. It has been burned out of that kind of fiber material and then put together. Now this is a mass product. I don't know how many of these boxes they make somewhere in Spain where they grow the strawberries, but there must be hundreds of thousands of these. And usually in industry, if you make something in 100,000 series, you do it by punching. Punching, I have a little example here from my daughter. It's that device where you can here push, you can make little crowns, and since of course I have a little princess, we make the little crown in pink. So if I push here, plumps, I have made a little crown like this. Now, most of these boxes are punched or die cut. If you also, the die cutting is also a common term for this. So why do they make them laser cut and not punched? I mean, punching is just boom and it's done. Laser cutting, you have to go all around that contour with the laser, and even if you do it at a quite high speed, you're not gonna be that fast, probably. The point is that cutting die is very expensive to make, and you need a very tight tolerance between the two blades that pass each other so they don't collide. But if it's too wide, I mean, everyone knows that if you have bad scissors and you try to cut a piece of paper and your paper does this and goes between the blades like this, and that's definitely what you don't want. So you need a very narrow gap between the blades, but not too narrow so you avoid collision. And as soon as you want to cut a more complex form, that cutting die becomes very expensive. And if we look at how this box is made, actually they glued it a little bit together, but can tear it apart. So you have you have slots like this to fit in these noses, and on this side you even see a very nice hook mechanism to put it together. So these kinds of shapes are very hard to die cut, or you need a quite expensive cutting die. Let me try to take this apart without breaking it too much, so I can show you that. And in the meantime, the cutting die technology is probably 50 years old, and since this die cutting technology is a quite old one, all the improvements already have been made, so there's very little chance that this technology is going to become cheaper in the future compared to laser technology, which has experienced a tremendous breakdown in costs over the past 10 years, and I'm sure it's going to go further with diode lasers coming up. And so I'm pretty sure that laser will push a lot of die cutting out of the market in the future. Probably it makes sense, and if you have these laser cutters which are really cheap, I mean, I've seen laser cutters you could use to make such boxes for about 10,000 or so. A punching press with cutting die is probably 100,000, and then you come probably to something like I mentioned in my last video, the rate principle. So if you buy 10 laser cutters, you probably get the same pace than if you have one cutting die, one punching press. But if you have these 10 laser cutters, one breaks down, you're still producing at 90%, your punching press costs you a lot more, and so in the end it becomes economically interesting to use the slower technology of laser cutting to produce what you want. And if you have a design change, and since this is something that goes into retail, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of designers involved on how exactly to make that box to sell more of these strawberries. So if you have a design change in laser cutting, you just switch over like nothing. And if you have a design change, if you make cutting die, if you are punching these parts, then you just have 2 weeks of time to get the new cutting die and install everything and get ready to run. And so I'm very excited about laser technology, what's coming up. I'm sure there will be lots more laser cutting into in mass production of parts in the future. And I hope you enjoyed these few insights, and see you next time. And I have a new subscriber. One by one I will grow my subscribers. I'm very happy that you joined my channel, whoever you are. And yeah, please share that content if you think it's useful. I'm very happy to interact with your subscribers if you want, so please put comments if you have ideas about what I should look into. I'd be very happy to do so.